Hi, this is Karen Lambden. I'm going to give you a quick instruction on foundation piecing for our house block, which will be for our raffle quilt. Here's a sample of it that I made. You're going to be able to make one too using this. This is in your kit, the foundation paper. This is ready to go, except that I made a boo-boo there. So I had to put another piece. This one's reversed. So I had to put another piece in your kit. So look for this piece. This is the one you're using. Don't use this one. When you get your kit, you're going to want to cut out with your paper scissors, cut out your piece. You don't want to cut it out right on that line. Trust me, I've done it. And then you accidentally cut your piece too small. So when you cut it out in between the lines and leave a little bit. So rough cut, leave a little bit out here, okay? That's real important, so that save you that confusion. Okay, now I'm going to make this block for you to show you my technique for paper piecing. We've got some pieces that were in your kit, and you can cut them according to our instructions in the kit. So we're going to start with this one. Want to use a white on number 1, C1, that's the white. We're going to put it on there. Be careful that you've got the right side of the white. Then we're going to add C2. So I'm going to put this one right up against it. So now I'm going to sew right here, and we're going to sew from the back. So you can really see it because I've already stitched this one. But you want to lay this over about a 1/4 inch from the edge. Make sure you've got the white, first of all, let's say right sides together, and that you've got the white on top of here. So I'm going to turn it over, carefully carry it over to my machine. I'm going to start stitching right here, stitch down to here. When I stitch inside the block, I do a little back stitch right there and a little back stitch right here. If I was stitching this one, I would do a little back stitch here and then just stitch right off the edge on this end. You don't need a back stitch. Okay, so we've got it on there. I'm going to carefully carry it over to the machine. And let's just put the needle in there. Okay, now I forgot to mention something. We've got to put your stitch length down. You want, on my FOF, I'm going down to a 1.5, maybe a stitch that's 15 to 20 inches, 15 to 20 stitches per inch, so that first of all the paper will rip off a lot easier and it will hold the seam real nicely. Okay, so I'm going to stitch a couple here and then back stitch a couple, then stitch it on down and back stitch. Okay, now let's go ahead, since this is the one block you're making, we want it to be perfect. Let's go ahead and trim all those stupid threads and have it all looking nice. Now on this block I'm using either pink thread, white or cream thread, white or cream, or red. I could use on this one. I did use red on one of the really dark ones and it came out really nice. You don't want to really use, there's no point in using gray thread on this. It doesn't match anything. So use pink, cream, or red is my opinion. Okay, now I'm going to take it over here. I'm going to set the seam and press it open. And I do not have steam in that. If you use steam, your paper gets all curly and gets a little wet. All right, and there's our piece. We have C1 and C2. Okay, so we want to add C3. Now, if you look at that, I don't really know, this is going to be the seam. I don't really know exactly where to go with that. So what I'm going to do is take this and use your little card. You find a little card or something, a picture or something, a note card, and you're going to flip it back against that line. The reason I use the card, it's kind of hard to do it by hand to fold that line, but if you put a card right there on that line, it helps you make a nice seam. Now if you have one of these add a quarter rulers, you can use that and it will add, you can trim it off right there and you'll have a 1/4 inch. I'm going to turn this my way. If you don't have an add a quarter seam ruler, I don't see any problem in just putting the 1/4 inch line right there. All right, now I went ahead and did that, but I have made this mistake before, so make sure you didn't actually have them both flipped up here, you know. Okay, make sure there's just one piece of fabric there, just so you know. Okay, now we're ready. We've got the 1/4 inch away, so we can just put this piece of fabric right on that 1/4 inch and make sure it covers both edges there. Take it over to the machine. And back stitch both of those. Trim. Let's do another one now. Press, set your seam, press it open. Oops, I pressed a wrinkle in there. Okay, now we want to do this one. Oh, this one, C4, doesn't really matter. Okay, so I'm going to use my card, fold it back again. Make sure you've just got one layer of fabric, and use your add a 1/4 or your 1/4 inch ruler. Trim that and throw that away. Okay, and a red one goes on there. Okay, it's going to cover, just make sure it's going to cover all the edges. All right, and one more. So we're going to put this one on and this one on the same way. I think you've got the idea. I do want to show you on this one though. When you add, let's see, I can't really do it unless I show you the whole thing. Let's just put it on there. Let's keep going. I was going to try to shorten it, but okay, add a 1/4. This is trash. Sometimes if they're big enough, hang on to them. You might need them if you make a boo-boo. Hopefully you don't make boo-boos like that, like I do. All right, one more red one. Turn it over. Stitching from the paper side. I almost stitched the wrong way. All right, here's the one I want to show you now, because this is kind of important, especially with this bright red. Okay, on this last one, whenever you're putting the white on top of the red, you will need to, let me finish it here and get it ready. And I can show you. You will need to, anytime you put the white on top of the red, you need to, oh, let's get that off of there. If you stitch it like this and then flip that over, you could have red shadowing in your quilt. You're just making one block. We're going to make it perfect. We don't want any shadowing. We don't like that. Okay, so make sure whenever you put a light on top of a dark to just slide that light up a little bit over the red so that you don't get any shadowing. Okay. And we can just stitch that right off. I back stitched there, but I didn't need to do that. All right, so when you get it now and you turn this over, if you can see shadowing, or if you can see, let's say I didn't do a very good job there and I have some red sticking out, all you have to do is take this and just trim some of the red so that it's shorter than the cream. Okay, so that one looks fine. You see there's no red showing there, but no shadowing. On this, the needle size on your machine, if you use I use an old needle too because you're going through paper. But if you want to use a larger needle size, like maybe a 9014, it'll make bigger holes in the paper also and help the paper come off later. Okay, I hope you can do it. Now I'd like you to go on and do this block and this section. Let's see, let's look on here. Do this one and this one the same way, and I'm going to come back and show you how to do this piece.